Although children aided the war effort by providing resources throughout World War II, they faced many hardships including parental neglect, child labor, and declining education, which ultimately exacerbated the living conditions of the children. The occurrence of World War II encouraged children to make positive contributions to the war effort. Children gave their own coins to buy war stamps and bonds, totaling to over $100 million to the war effort. They also took a particularly active role in community drives to collect scrap metal, paper, and rubber, all of which were needed to meet the rapid growth of the U.S. industrial production. The children formed groups such as the Tin Can Colonels and Uncle Sam's Commandos, teaming together to scavenge discarded pots, pans, tin cans, and other scrap metal and aluminum. They collected waste paper, which was used as cartridge belts for soldiers. In Chicago schools, every Wednesday was Paper Day, in which students would bring bundles of newspapers to school. The student who brought the most paper would receive a gold pin for the week. The school children collected 18,000 tons of newspapers altogether.
However, movement of families during World War II brought many challenges to children. 3 years after the United States joined the war, 12 million people joined the U.S. Army and more than 15 million citizens moved to new houses. Most of them moved to the new industrial areas seeking employment, but some moved towards the military bases. Thus, millions of American children have been separated from their family environment, were forced to grow up without parental attention. Since 16 million women worked full-time outside of the home during the war, more and more children were separated from their parents for long amounts of time. Because of the lack of adult supervision, these ignored children independently wandered throughout the city, as few supporting community service such as day nurseries and communal kitchens existed. And, as many schools were crowded, some children were only able to attend school for half a day. These children were called latchkey children or 8-hour orphans. In 1940, Congress passed the Lanham Act to give federal government aid to communities that had to accommodate massive war-related populations. This act funded nurseries, hospitals, sewer systems, police, and firefighting facilities, and recreational centers. However, care was provided to only 107,000 children. Many children who did not receive care visited the movies all day and sometimes wandered around the street overnight. In one area in Los Angeles, one social worker found 45 infants trapped in cars in a parking lot. World War II also indirectly encouraged child labor. Between 1940 and 1944, the number of teenagers attending school declined by 12.5 million, and most who left school took jobs. As a result, the previous trend toward reducing child labor was reversed. Not only were more young people working, but they were performing heavier work in industries such as manufacturing goods. This trend also spread to illegal employment. A survey of pin setters in bowling alleys showed that boys as young as 9 years go to the alleys after school, eat supper in an upstairs or back room, and work until midnight on school nights and until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. In New York, the number of children illegally employed jumped by nearly 400%. Working for long hours, these kids became fatigued during school, resulting in an increased amount of school dropouts. In conclusion, World War II forced children to take on duties of an adult that they were not prepared for due to their parents leaving for the war effort.